This is a Headgum podcast.
This episode is actually brought to you by Unroll Me. Everyone's favorite email decluttering service has released an iOS app. Finally,
Thank you.
Quick, free, painless solution to the inbox overload. I was the kind of guy that I wake up and I have just 21 emails.
Right. And they're sort of exciting. You're just like, whoa, 21 emails.
Yeah.
And then they are all from like J. Crew and Gap. And
They're all from J. Crew. This is a J. Crew unsubscribing website. When you sign up, they backscan your inbox for 45 days for subscription-based emails. Then they'll show them to you and allow you to unsubscribe from them all, roll them up, or you can keep them all with a quick swipe. You swipe to the left to unsubscribe, swipe to the right to keep, and swipe up to roll up.
Oh.
So the roll up is basically a daily digest made of all the rolled up emails you've received during that day. So you can say never again, all right, keep it going, or you can put it as part of your roll up, which is a once a day thing.
Beautiful.
It's clean, it's easy, it works with Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, iCloud, Outlook. The closest you'll get to making email fun again is Unroll Me, and they have an app. If you go to unroll.me/app to download it. Thank you to Unroll Me for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah.
New sponsor. Toda to them. This was a fun episode. Billy Scafuri in the house.
Love him, Billy. Love me some Billy, dude.
And if you guys don't know who Billy is, you're going to love you some Billy. Starting right now, things got real.
If I were you, you'd be me. We would be each other.
Yes. Let that last note hang.
Matt,
Yeah, dude, let it ring.
Matt Bogdanow is the guy who wrote it. Billy Scafuri is the guy who's in our studio.
Bogdanow just wailed.
Yeah.
I did.
Damn.
Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Scafuri?
Yep. Hard U. Yuri.
Scafuri.
Yep.
Scafuri.
Let's all say it together.
Scafuri.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake.
Scaffolding.
That's right.
You do come from a scaffolding empire, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. And whatever empire you come from, you are named for.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
of
example, my empire was the Blumenfeld, or in German, the flower field.
Wow.
Very interesting.
That
Which
sounds
is
like
why-
a cocaine empire.
Yes,
The
it was
flower
a
field.
cocaine. I was going to say I'm also a butterfly.
Why?
That's nice.
Yeah. Why would you say that? Not why are you that? Why would you say that right now? So this is an advice show. We're getting real emails from real people to iferyshow@gmail.com. We're going to read a couple of them, try to advise them out of their sticky situations. But what we need from you, William Scaffolding, is fake names to preserve their anonymity because we don't want to out them in the real world.
Happily.
Yeah. So
Happily.
this is just a guy dating a girl,
Okay.
asking him to love her.
This is Pat Happily
And he is happily Pat.
at gmail.com.
Pat Happily. Pat Happily writes, "Hey guys, I have an interesting problem. I started dating my smoke show of a girlfriend 4 months ago, and things have been perfect despite my being away at school. No fighting, we get along amazingly, and the sex is incredible. The problem started a week ago when I jokingly said something about masturbating before I came back to school, and she said that she wanted me to wait so that the sex would be better. Now, normally I try to rub one out a few hours before we would have had sex to try to increase durability, but I saved up anyways, and when I came home, she was right. The sex was awesome. The problem is, with the week-long buildup of semen, there was quite a lot when it came time for me to explode on her chest. Much to my surprise, she loved this, and now wants me to stop masturbating entirely to maximize the amount of cum for the next time. The problem is, I kind of masturbate a lot, like once every other day, and saving up for a week is incredibly difficult, let alone a month. Should I tough it out and make it more enjoyable for her? And if not, how do I tell her that I refuse and need to keep jerking it? On a real note, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for being that little beacon of light that helped turn the shittiest of days great."
I really needed to insert that last one. That was just for us.
He didn't even write that part. Toda Love, Pat Happily.
Happily Pat.
So,
There's a lot of things in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's a
Yeah.
lot to come.
is your nutsack like a water balloon at a sink that will just grow infinitely the less you masturbate? So, like, is there a max?
What a perfect visual.
Is there a maximum?
He was in
at
his
a
room
certain
with a sketchbook for an hour. I think he was diagramming that thought.
at a certain point, if you waited 3 days versus 6 days versus a month,
Right.
This lady thinks it'll just grow and grow until your
One
body
of those
is
weird
just-
baboons with those like weird red butts that hang out.
Yeah, she thinks your entire body will overflow with cum if you never masturbate.
Like, don't you see that happening to dogs? Like dogs with huge ass nuts that aren't. I don't know.
Does semen like replenish after a day and then it plateaus after that?
Now, I'm no scientist, but I think
You answer every question like that.
just to keep all of my answers safe.
I
But
asked you what the date was when you walked in.
and I'm no scientist, but I think it might be November 5th. But I'm
Yeah.
no scientist.
That's wrong.
I think that's why wet dreams exist. What is the wet
yeah.
dream?
Wow.
Right.
So a wet dream is when your body is so overloaded with semen.
It's like, yo.
It tricks you when it's like, let's wait till he falls asleep.
Exactly.
And it seeps out of your belly button or your dick.
Much
What do you
like
mean, or your? Sorry. Do you know where it comes out of?
Or like if you tourniquet your dick, it'll just leak out of your nose when you're asleep.
Jesus
It's an
Christ,
yeah.
man. I feel like it's a real issue that you don't know which hole you come out of.
Amir's very confused in the whole blowing your nose process. He thinks that it's an orgasm every single time.
I think I like hump my sheets when I'm having a wet dream.
I wonder.
That's another thing we talked about. Like, how amazing would it be to see a time lapse of a guy tied up to his bed? So arm, leg.
I want to set this. You said that's another thing we talked about. How amazing would it be?
Okay, this is my.
See a guy.
I had nothing to do with this. This is your fantasy.
This is my fantasy. I want to see a time lapse of a wet dream where this guy is borderline possessed by a sexual demon.
He's also been tied up for weeks.
He'll get a boner and start ejaculating without touching anything. It's just his eyes rolling back into his head, and his dick would get hard and start splooging everywhere. It would have to happen, right?
What do you want me to
Calm
say
down,
to you right now?
Blumenfeld. You're freaking out.
What would you want?
You're standing up,
I want you to say, "Wow." I want you to.
pacing the room. He'd be splooging everywhere.
I want you to say that would be a very amazing thing to see, a
guess
sight to behold.
I'm no scientist, but I'd buy a ticket to the show.
Okay, the sperm accounts for a very small amount of the semen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is just from a Yahoo Answers thread, which I can't stress is science fact. How long does it take for your testicles to fill with sperm? The best answer was sperm takes several weeks to mature. And then another person said it depends on the person. And then one of the person, which was my favorite, 8 years ago commented, "Who the hell knows this shit?"
Thank you.
Why did he signed up for an account to comment that?
Who the hell does know this shit? What about the bigger issue of this girl telling this guy not to masturbate? Isn't that a baddie?
Yeah, but I think that's more like we have lots of girls that write in and tell their boyfriends not to masturbate.
Like, I prefer if you were going to be sexual with me. That
But
was
not
an
even by
agreement we
yourself.
made. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, it's not like she's.
But why is it better for her?
But what if it's a power move?
Because-
what if it's a power move and she just wants to see what she can limit him to do?
Oh, so it's like, don't do this
Because
thing.
just to see
Sacrifice.
If she can actually, just to
That's
see-
what she gets off on.
Yeah, exactly. She masturbates to the thought of him not masturbating.
She's a cuckold.
Yeah, she's just at home, like flicking her bean at the thought of him reading a Mad magazine on a couch. Doing the fold in fucking gets her off.
I think what she doesn't necessarily know is if he waited a month, the intense sex would last 2.5
seconds.
seconds.
An intense 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like masturbate every day and then take 2 days off.
Right. I'm curious what the difference between 30 and like call it 4 days off.
Right.
4
Probably
days
not.
I want to
pre-sex
see. I
is
want to
that.
see the line graph.
Even if I was like masturbating every day for a month and then I got to have sex, I would still feel like it was very intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
especially
you-
if you haven't had sex in a month.
Yeah.
What did you once say? The masturbating is what to a meal? Like sex is a meal and masturbating is shitting.
Oh yeah. Gross. That's not what I said though. I don't know.
No,
what
I
it
said
was.
if sex is a really good meal, what is masturbating? And then you said it's taking a crap
Was it? Did it?
because it feels good and it's something to do with food.
Oh.
But it's not even like, it's not snacking by yourself.
It's like the fish fillet at McDonald's, where it's like, yeah, you ate it and it was fine, and I guess it filled you up for a second, but like 10 minutes later, you're like, why did I do that?
Oh,
God.
masturbating is way better than a fish fillet.
Yeah,
to
I've never
me.
gotten the fish fillet. That was the wrong example.
That is the weird. You really know a lot about someone if they've had the fish fillet.
That's true.
Because it's not just getting a filet o fish. It's preferring it to every
I
other
always
thing.
get the filet of fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you want. You go to
that
McDonald's and you
trumps
want the
any label.
seafood.
That trumps any label about that person.
What's on the sandwich? Isn't it like a tartar sauce and a pickle?
I think that's like why people like it. Hey, you know what, dudes? After this, let's all go get filet of fish.
No, I think I'd be violently sick if I had fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna tweet a picture, everybody.
Have you
That's a
ever
great
seen-
idea.
We'll each
I'll
take
eat
a bite of a filet of fish.
Okay.
Will you take a bite?
I'll take a bite out of. Oh, can you imagine?
It
eating
seems like such a
seafood
fun,
from
good idea to
McDonald's?
me now.
So this-
we are gonna be in a drive-thru at McDonald's eating a filet of fish in a bit.
Two things. One, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Two, I'm in.
Filet of fish. So what are we telling this person?
I think he can get away
the
with
filet of fish.
get the filet of fish. I think he can get off with get off literally. You know what I'm saying? He can masturbate. A week before he goes
Yes.
home, and like this, because he's already said this time the sex was awesome. Like it'll do this from now on.
White lies are perfectly fine sometimes.
Yeah.
And especially when they're semen white. Just a liquid white lie. Awesome. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. If you yourself have your own theme song or your own question or your own Facebook thumbnail submission, that email for everything is ifiwereyoushow@gmail.com. We'll see you next week on the internet. Later, everybody.
Peace.
See ya.
As I wake up, then I turn on Amir and Jacob. Listen to If I Were You. Walk home in my hair now, wondering if I should put my neighbor now. Right into If I Were You.
That was a Headgum podcast.